All right, so welcome to our nutrition review here. We're talking about micro and macronutrients to start. This should be mostly kind of a review because we've kind of really talked about this in our class now, but also in health. So specifically micronutrients, those are what we need less of. Those are things like water, minerals, and vitamins. Those things are really beneficial to support like our immune system and our functions of our body. Now, macronutrients, those are what we need more of in our diet. So that's our priority in our diet. So we're looking at things like carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So those are really like the main bulk of what we eat. So when we focus on what we're looking for, we usually are looking for one of those three things in a specific meal or diet. Now, we want to look at what role each of those macronutrients play in our diet. So primarily carbohydrates, we're looking at our fuel source for high intensity workouts or high intensity activities, right? Also a fuel source for central nervous system. So that's kind of what fuels our brain and our nerves, things like that. Now, proteins are important for working out because they're our main builder and rebuilder of tissues. So proteins are going to go in and repair areas that have experienced stress. So like when we work out and we get sore, proteins are what's fixing that soreness. What it's doing then is building up our muscle, right? So it builds up tissues. Now, fats are main priority is protection. So really it's our packing peanuts of our body. It protects our organs and everything else inside. Also insulates us. And then also acts as another energy store. Because remember, we can burn both carbohydrates and fats when we're working in depending on where our heart rate's at, right? So what does this mean in terms of our nutrition before and after a workout, right? So if we're thinking and trying to be intentional about what we're fueling our bodies with in terms of the amount of work we're doing, we're going to want to focus on specific nutrients or macronutrients in our diet to be more prominent or more specific with what we're eating. So to do this, we're going to think about what are we really primarily burning? Are we burning carbohydrate, proteins, fats? So what do we need to replenish? Those kinds of things. It's important that we have a carb load before we do a high intensity workout or a moderate level workout. And that's because we're going to be burning a lot of that, right? So we want to have the appropriate amount of fuel that we have so we can make sure that we power through that. Now, for our post-workout or after, we want to make sure we're doing those proteins. That's because that's what rebuilds, right? If we don't have enough proteins to rebuild, we're not going to make those improvements. So we want to have the right amount of carbohydrates before, that we have enough energy to burn through in our workout, but also enough proteins there to rebuild.